And we are back with some more Calgary Flames franchise mode in FHM 9. And in this one, we have the start of year number 13, I believe it is. Coming off our 4th consecutive Stanley Cup championship, and of course, our 6th and 8th seasons. We do have a couple of moves to make here. Due to the fact that our salary is currently at $84.4 million, we also only have 21 players signed and only 5 defensemen. So we are definitely going to have to make a couple of moves here to shed some cap. And I'm not just talking about the 2 mil necessary to get under the cap ceiling. I'm talking about roughly 10 million. So yeah, there are going to be a couple of major moves here. And you know what? That's the tough part of the job. I hate to trade players who have been phenomenal for us over the years, but the time has come, unfortunately, to give this team a little bit of a refresh, unfortunately. I mean, again, I'm super appreciative of everything that this core has done, but in order to stay competitive, we do have to make the tough decisions. And with the amount of success that we have been achieving as of late, those tough decisions were bound to come sooner rather than later. So we are, first of all, want to point out that we have signed or have approached to sign Ron Bugera. I set him to auto-qualify earlier, so he is still within our system. And since he wanted a minimum contract, I figured we may as well, because we're going to need those kinds of contracts if we want to stay competitive. And the big one, Doug Elfring, is being re-signed for $10.3 million for 3 years. So managed to get his salary down there quite a bit. So that should allow us to be a little bit more flexible next year. And now to the trades. Well, I'm going to make them before the draft even happens. First trade that we are going to be making is to the LA Kings. So yes, a division rival, unfortunately, but they do have a very significant piece that I am very interested in acquiring. And that would be Edward Murphy, 24 years of age, solid 3-star defenseman, got great defensive ratings all around, solid puck handling, good determination at 18, physical ratings are okay. What I really like about him, though, is his personality. Everyone loves him. The bigger the game, the better he performs, and he likes some stability, isn't the guy who likes to change teams frequently. So we got ourselves not only someone who's going to be loyal to the team, hopefully, when the time comes to re-sign, but by the looks of it, a clutch playoff performer and someone who is rarely, if ever, going to be getting into any conflicts with anybody. Obviously, he's not much of a point scorer as a defenseman. He had 28 points his first full year in the NHL, it looks like, and 21 and 21. And of course, he doesn't really score much in the playoffs either. But the real value here with Murphy is his contract, only making $2.56 for the next 4 seasons. That is invaluable for this team going forward. For a 3-star ability defenseman to have that kind of contract is that is something we desperately need. So we are going to be getting him on this trade. And that is the only thing coming back to us, as going the other way will unfortunately have to be Brody Meehan. He has been a big part of this team for the past, 8 seasons or so. I mean, he had a slow start for sure, 14 points, 22, 25, but then he became a late bloomer and really, over the past 5 seasons, has been a pretty big presence on this team, particularly 3 seasons ago with that 86-point performance. But even besides that year, we're just a very, very solid player for us. And once again, I know it's a tough decision to make, but we really don't have a whole lot of flexibility here as far as our ability to choose which players we keep and which we ship out, because, if we want to keep the top core together, guys like Gelfring, Glockner, Henderson, Antolovsky, Pegamagabo, and Debu, then Meehan is someone who unfortunately does take a backseat to those guys and has to be moved, especially due to his contract, given the fact that he's making 6.3 for the next 3 years. So that does free up roughly 4 mil in cap space. 4 mil, which is definitely needed. And as we can see, this is not going to be enough. It just says that this is a well-balanced offer, meaning they're not going to accept. So we're going to throw in a 5th-round pick, which they will probably accept. So offer trade, there you go. We'll see if LA accepts. And the second trade that we are going to be making is to the Columbus Blue Jackets. They are looking for a right defenseman, and it just so happens that we have a right defenseman that is making a lot of money, and that would be Emile Jacques, who just recently, in fact, won the Norris Trophy this season. So you might think, well, why would you trade a Norris Trophy winning defenseman? Well, here's the thing. I don't exactly want to give up Glockner, who is only 27, making less money actually than Jacques. for the next 5 years. 5-star defenseman. He's much better defensively than Jacques is. And obviously also 4 years younger. So when it comes down to it, Jacques is the odd man out here. And no one else on our defensive core is making even close to that much money. And everyone else on our forward core, I don't feel like has a significant enough contract that to the point where it would make a difference in what I'm trying to achieve this offseason. So like I said, unfortunately, Emile Jacques is the odd man out here. And I didn't think I'd be saying that either, considering his performance this season. 83 points in 81 games played. Once again, very great player, but unfortunately just does not fit the blueprint of what I'm trying to achieve by being able to stay competitive with guys like Elfring, Henderson, Antolovsky, Pegamagabo, and Debut, and Glockner still being on the roster. So let's throw Jacques on the trade. He's the only guy going to Columbus, and the only guy coming back would be Eric Lawrence, a 3.5-star winger who was only 24 years of age, really solid all around, 18 hitting, solid physical attributes, good mental ratings, all around, well-rounded offensive rating. He's just a very well-rounded player in general. And a look at his personality, big game performer, doesn't let criticism get him down, and he tends to move around a little more than average. So that part I'm not really a huge fan of, but you know what? It's all good because his contract, once again, only 3.76 for 3 seasons. That is where the real value for this team is. Could we get more back for Jacques? Yeah, probably. In terms of overall talent, yeah. But again, the real value for this team is getting young players on team-friendly contracts, and that's what Lawrence and Murphy are able to provide for us, right? So we're not only getting younger for the future, but we're also making sure that we're able to stay competitive for the years to come. So by trading Jacques, we are freeing up roughly $6 million cap in exchange for Lawrence. So overall, that frees up $10 million in cap space. Of course, we're not going to be able to spend all of that because some of it was spent just getting under the cap ceiling. Nonetheless, it does free up a lot of flexibility for us going into the draft. So it's just Jacques for Eric Lawrence, straight up offer trade. And then once both of those trades are completed, the thing that I want to do is sign Tim Knight. We did retain his rights going into this offseason, but as we saw earlier, he does want quite a hefty contract, roughly $6 million for 4 years. If I could take that down to like 5.5, that'd be great. But I'm not going to do that until I know for sure how much salary cap space we're working with and when both trades have gone through. So he can stay on sign for right now. Might have to trade Amirkanov's rights, unfortunately, because if we take a look at what he wants $5 million for 3 years. There's just no way we're going to be able to pay that on top of paying Knight and, you know, staying a competitive team. So we really don't have a whole lot of flexibility here. I'm just freeing up that cap space to be able to sign Knight because he is 23, solid defensive defenseman, even scored 37 points last year. So once again, another key part of the team that I want to be able to get back on board for the long term. But we can't do that, of course, until those trades go through. So with that, I think we can advance up to the draft lottery. Oh, there it is. Doug Elfring has re-signed with your Calgary Flames for yet another long-term contract, but this time much more team-friendly, at least in comparison to the last one, now making 10.3 for the next 3 seasons as of next season. There it is. Columbus has accepted our offer. Emile Jacques for Eric Lawrence. Once again, thank you, Emile Jacques, for your, what is it now? 5 years of service here in Calgary. You will be missed, but this is, once again, one of those tough decisions that you have to make in order to stay competitive long term. So complete trade, there it is. Calgary and Columbus agree to a deal. Emile Jacques to Columbus, while Eric Lawrence is welcomed to your Calgary Flames. And there you go. LA has accepted our offer for Brody Meehan and a 5th round pick in this year's draft for the 24-year-old defenseman Edward Murphy. Complete trade. So we are now at $74.5 million in salary cap, meaning we do have the available salary to sign Mr. Tim Knight, which we will do right now. I'll start at $5 million and see where we go from there. All right, doesn't look like he's going to budge too much. He's only down to 5.91. All right, he's going down like 50,000 per offer here. I'm not sure how far I'm going to be able to take this, but I would at least like to try to get him down as far as possible. All right, he's down to 5.54. Let's see if I can get him to 5.4. 5.49. He's angry. All right, we'll settle at 5.49. You know what I said before? If I can get him at 5.5 for 4 years, I'll be happy. That's exactly what's happening here. So ask for response, submit offer. All right, that's solid. Solid signing of Tim Knight. All right, draft lottery time. So we're actually in it this time. What trade is that from? Whose pick is that? Is that Carolina's? We traded for Carolina's pick, didn't we? Yeah, that was Carolina's pick. So we're in the We're in the draft lottery at number 8 from Carolina's pick. What a trade. All right, so let's see what happens here. At number 16, you have Colorado. 15, Columbus. At 14, you have the Islanders. 13, you have Pittsburgh. 12, you have Seattle, so Minnesota moves up. At 11, you have Montreal. 10, you have Tampa. 9, they're Calgary Flames. Okay, so that's, I mean, still, I'm not complaining. That's a really good, for where we ended up this year, that's a really good pick. And I don't believe we have a first round pick of our own either. So once again, not complaining. At number 8, you have Detroit. At number 7, you have Anaheim. At number 6, you have Arizona. 5, Buffalo. 4, Winnipeg. 3, Vancouver. 2, Minnesota. And 1, Chicago. All right, here we go. Draft time. So looks like the top ability player this year is Christopher Jones, but he's only a 3-star potential. In terms of potential, you have Yaroslav Svek, who is a 4.5-star potential, but only a half-star ability. So it'll be interesting to see how this draft shapes up. And let's simulate to our pick at number 9. So Brandon Wiedemann goes first to the Chicago Blackhawks. 1-star ability, 4-star potential. Yeah, not too bad. Looks like a defensive defenseman there. And then Svek went at number 2, projected to go at number 5. So I wonder who was projected to go number 1 here. He was projected to go 7. Jones was at 36, really. So it goes he's going from 36 to 4. Sandstrom projected to go at 40. And Carbonneau 75? Jeez. The draft, man. This is what I'm saying. Like, the mock draft really does not mean anything. And then Larnin. Eli Larnin was supposed to go number 1. What's he looking like? 1.5-star ability, 2.5-star potential. And at least I understand the offensive ratings and how well-rounded he is defensively, but it seems like the team scouting is definitely a far cry from the consensus. So it'll be interesting to see how he turns out. And now time for our pick at number 9. You do have a goaltender, actually quite a few goaltenders in Trojack, Zajac, and Ward. Where are we thin prospects-wise? I mean, really just about everywhere, to be honest. We don't have many quality prospects at this point, considering that most of them have already made it to the NHL, given how much roster turnover we've had to go through over the past couple of years. I mean, a lot of our core forwards are starting to get up there in age. Alfring's the senior skatesman on the team now at this point, at 32 years of age. Pegamagabo, 31. Then you have, on defense, your oldest guy's 28 with Fast, and Glockner's 27. So I don't think we have to worry too much about defense, but still, getting a couple of defensemen wouldn't be a bad idea, as most of our defensive prospects are not too good, as we see. But what I think we need most is we definitely need to start rebuilding our forward core again, because a lot of our key guys at forward are starting to get up there in age, and I think that's a little bit more pressing at the moment. Mikhail Semenikov, good personality, like that. 32 points in 68 games played in the KHL last year. Already pretty solid overall, to be honest. Definitely going to keep an eye on him. Trojack, if I do pick a goaltender, it would probably be Trojack, considering the other two, Zajac and Ward, are only half-star ability. Let me just check his personality. Too concerned with money. He avoids dwelling on failures. Doesn't let criticism get him down. So I don't like the fact that he's too concerned with how much money he makes, but overall, that's his worst trait. And he was predicted to be picked at 3. Solid save percentages as well, so that might be worth taking, honestly. Hoppy Ainen was supposed to go at number 2, apparently. I like his personality. Pretty adaptable. Never takes success for granted and can be counted on to avoid dwelling on failures. So a solid personality. 25 points in 58 games played last year in Finland. Definitely looks more of an offensive defenseman. Determination's up there at 18. Physical ratings aren't too great. Neither are defensive ratings, so he would definitely take a couple of years. He's definitely a solid choice. Then you have Mr. Emelianchuk. Pretty solid all around, honestly. Mental ratings are kind of weak, but that appears to be the case with most of the players in this draft, honestly. And a trend that I'm noticing is that a lot of players have high determination and then just mediocre everything else in mental ratings. Physical ratings are all around pretty good. I like his personality. He adjusts to a new environment quickly, counted on to avoid dwelling on failures, and he scores very high on IQ tests. Last season, the KHL had 40 points in 67 games played, so definitely another one to keep an eye on. There's also Riker Crook, who is a pretty well-rounded center here. He only has a 2-star potential, so definitely wouldn't take him first, but looks like he's still someone to keep an eye on. His strongest suit is ability to deal with adversity. He handles criticism in a constructive manner, and he enjoys the spotlight, and his performance reflects that. At 24 points in the NCAA in 26 games played last year. So definitely someone I want to keep an eye on, but once again, not selecting first. Not worth a 9th overall pick. There's Zach Statchuk. Great offensively. Offensive read is at 20. Defensive is okay. Physical ratings are great. Mental ratings okay. Let's see, career stats. 41 points in NCAA last year in 24 games played with Denver. He's projected to go at 127. Personality looks good. So yeah, I think we'll keep an eye on him. Once again, not someone who I'm selecting now, but definitely a solid choice for a later pick. It's between Semenikov, Hapiainen, and Trojak. I think it's got to be Semenikov, honestly. The offensive ratings are really good. Physical ratings are already basically there. Defensive ratings even are solid. I mean, he fits the Calgary Flames blueprint of what we have been rolling with for the past 8 or 9 seasons, you know. So I think it's got to be Semenikov. So yeah, Semenikov, welcome to the Calgary Flames. So let's simulate up to our next pick in the second round, see if any of these guys are still there. Oof, unfortunately, all of them were taken between our pick at number 9 and now our pick at number 64. So there are a couple of goaltenders left here who are 3-star and 2.5-star potential respectively. Not a fan of either of these guys, to be honest. There's Andrei Shantsev, who looking pretty well-rounded. 1-star ability, projected to be picked at 51. I like most of his personality, though he does tend to move around a lot. But that's not the worst thing. 41 points last year in the KHL. Yeah, for the most part, I like him. And he's got a 1-star ability, 2-star potential, so nothing fantastic, but that's to be expected at this point in the draft where there's not really much anyway. So I think Shantsev is the one who really stands out here. And I'll take a quick look at everybody else. I'll quickly scroll through here, but I'm not seeing much. Yeah, it's got to be Shantsev. Gotta be Shantsev. Welcome to the Calgary Flames, Andrei Shantsev. And in round number 3 now, pick number 96. There is Vadim Venskel, and Maxim Kokorikov as the only 2-star potentials left. Well, let's see. We've already taken a winger in Semenikov and another winger in Shantsev, so let's go with the defenseman Kokorikov, assuming his personality is good. I mean, it's not the worst thing. He enjoys the spotlight and his performance reflects that. However, he'll probably ask for a little bit more in contract negotiations than most, and he'll also move around teams if he gets the chance. So, not a huge fan. Let's just take a look at Venskel. Everyone loves him, knows for his intelligence, can be counted on to avoid dwelling his failures. So he's better personality for sure. I just don't know if I want to take another forward is the thing. And it looks like he's not as good mentally as Kokorikov is. Yeah, I think I'll take Kokorikov. So welcome to the Calgary Flames, Maxim Kokorikov. Or rather, Kokaryov is how it's pronounced, not Kokorikov. So I had to pick number 128. There's not a whole lot left. Venskel's still there. Yeah, may as well take him at this point. I mean, there's not much going on here. Wait a minute. Jesse Jameson. I like his personality. 7 points last year in 15 games played for Clarkson of the NCAA. Better mental ratings than I've seen out of most players here in this draft. Overall, he could still use some work, obviously, only being a half-star ability, but he looks, for the most part, like he could potentially do something. So yeah, I'm going to take Jesse Jameson here with this pick. Welcome to Calgary. All right, so Venskel is no longer there. We're in the 6th round at 192. And at this point, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to sim the rest of the draft. Yeah, not much jumping out at me here. And there you go. Tim Knight has signed, as well as Ron Bugera with your Calgary Flames. So we're currently at 23 players on the roster. 80.7 million. What did I say? we needed to get rid of that 10 mil of cap space just to get to a full roster. And all of that while staying roughly as competitive as we were before. I mean, sure, we gave up a couple of veterans here that have done a lot for the franchise over the past 5 or so seasons. But still, the win here is that we were able to maintain our core all while staying competitive. That is a huge W in my books. And all without giving up any of the future. In fact, we only just added to our future with guys like Semenikov. Of course, we have CJ Wolf, who we picked last year, I believe, or maybe 2 years ago. And of course, that also allows us to stay competitive for much longer. So I will certainly take that as a win in my books. But obviously, what would be even better is if this team manages to follow through in the footsteps of our previous rosters and once again win the Stanley Cup. So certainly some interesting moves that we have made over the past couple of years here in Calgary, particularly this year. But at the end of the day, I think we'll be just fine. I think we'll be on our way to our 8th Stanley Cup in franchise history and 7th Stanley Cup in 9 seasons. Actually, let's just check out our roster just to make sure we have everything before we officially advance. In goal, you have Pinch and Debu, looking good. Defense, you have Lochner, Knight, Murphy, Lepp, Fast, Bugera, and Marshall. So definitely looking a little weaker on defense than years past, but I think this is a solid defensive core, especially with Glockner there. Tim Knight was solid for us last year. And of course, Edward Murphy, our new acquisition from LA, should be a pretty solid defenseman given his ratings. And all of that, very cheap as well. And then the four core, Alfring, Pegamagbo, Henderson, Antolovsky, Torka, Creech, Hedquist, Lawrence, Blizzard, Steele, Nielsen, Butler, Davies, and Vokoch. Yeah, we're looking good. I think we can advance to the start of the regular season now. Oh, actually, I forgot to trade Amirkanov's rights. Right, yeah, we should probably do that. All right, so we're sending the rights to Amirkanov for a couple of thirds to Pittsburgh. Couldn't get much else back for him. Couldn't get a second, so decided to go a couple thirds. And there you go. There you go. Pittsburgh has accepted our offer, so let's do that right now. And now we'll get to the Hall of Fame inductions, and then we will finally get to the start of the year number 13 regular season. So into the Hockey Hall of Fame are Pat Verbeek, Jason Robertson, Thomas Chabot, and Quinn Hughes. So Pat Verbeek, at 77 years of age, finally gets into the Hockey Hall of Fame. So with that, let's get through the preseason. Oh boy, Torka, broken toe from the preseason. You hate to see it. That's rough. So starting out the season with a major injury before the season even starts. That's lovely. All right, luckily it was the shorter parts of 1 to 2 months for Torka. It's October 17th and he is already back. Oh no. Glockner, injured. How long? Okay, not bad. Sore back day today. That's the thing. That's the only thing about this. If Glockner goes down, then our defensive core is really looking rough. So we just gotta cross our fingers that Glockner does not get any major injuries. Ooh, fast. 2-3 weeks with a strained ribcage. And then Torka again, apparently. 1-2 weeks with a bruised collarbone. Wow, has it really been 1,000 games already? Doug Elfring hits 1,000 games played in the NHL. All right, so we're on March 1st of 2042, basically the trade deadline. We are 41-17-4, so still very good season. Obviously, nowhere near good as we've been for the past 3 seasons, but still a very good season nonetheless. We are currently first in our division, only by 3 points, but still, we should have the playoffs locked. Doug Elfring currently leads the league with 82 points and 41 goals. But man, let me tell you, you know what? I'm not even going to say it because just take a look at these team stats. Elfring with 82 points and 41 goals in 62 games played. The next guy down, Hedquist, with 48. If hockey gods forbid anything ever happens to Elfring, we are toast. It is the Doug Elfring show all the way at this point. Like the idea of depth scoring has just completely gone out the window for this team. Like, I mean, Hedquist is pretty good. I mean, a lot of these guys, you know, getting some decent amounts of scoring going on there, but no one who's really getting to Elfring's level anymore. Even Pegamagbo has started to slow down scoring wise, only down to 37 points so far in 62 games played. Blizzard with 22 goals. Only 36 points though. Yeah, it's basically, it is Doug Elfring show here. Goaltending's not bad. Pinch has actually gotten in for more games than Debut this year with 42 games played and 5 shutouts, 918 save percentage. Debut has struggled a little bit. In 21 games played has a 903, no shutouts. So I would, of course, given Debut's contract, like to see him play better. But it's not the worst thing in the world because we, of course, have seen this before out of Debut. And he, that season, rebounded in the playoffs and got us the Stanley Cup. So we'll see what happens with that this year. Honestly, I don't think there's really much for us to do considering our cap situation. I think we just have to cross our fingers that Doug Elfring is good to go for the rest of the year. And Glockner as well. If either of those two goes down, it's not looking pretty. I'll just say that. And this is the biggest part of why I kept Glockner over Jacques. 92 defensive grade. That is the biggest part of our game, is our defensive game. If we were to get rid of him over someone like Emile Jacques, who again was very good, but if we abandoned our defensive game, we abandon everything that made us a good team, right? So that being said, I do want to check the trade block to see if there's any cheap defensemen who we can get who are solid offensively. Oh, maybe Jesper Nielsen, 32 years of age, cheap contract. What's his career looking like? Decent offensively, it looks like. 18 points so far in 36 games for Dallas. He had 40 points last year. Good grades all around. Yeah, I'm liking the look of Jesper Nielsen here, actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to trade for Nielsen. He's on the trade block, too, so he should be pretty easy to trade for, honestly. Good defensive grade. Yeah. Although the issue is, what do we give up for him? Oh, okay. Lucas Nagy. They'll just take Lucas Nagy, a 23-year-old goaltender who's still a half-star ability. Yeah, I will absolutely do that. Offer trade? Finalized. There you go. So welcome to Calgary Flames, Jesper Nielsen. So a last-minute trade deadline acquisition there, and hopefully he helps out for our playoff run. Nothing huge, obviously, you know, just a solid veteran acquisition, but I think he'll really help out, especially considering that Hilton Marshall was a regular part of our defensive core until he got injured, only being a 2-star talent and frankly hasn't been great all around. So I think that's a really good trade for Nielsen there. And with that, let's finish the year 13 regular season. And we have reached the end of the regular season of year number 13. We finished 54, 22, and 6. So, of course, not nearly as good as we were last season or the other season before that, but still a very good season. Doug Elfring, the only 100-point player in the NHL this year, and a 60-goal scorer once again. So he's the complete package. He is the complete package here for your Calgary Flames, a 60-goal scorer once again. And I know I've said it a million times before probably by this point, but what an absolute unit that we have here in Doug Elfring. Look at that, almost 1,000 points as well, 976. He is so close to breaking Iginla's record. Yeah, that's a solid season, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, within the next 2 seasons, Elfring will pass Iginla. That is pretty crazy. Let's check out the rest of the team stats. 71 points for Henderson, 61 for Hedqvist, 64 for Glockner, 51 for Nielsen, 50 for Pegamagabo, 47 for Blizzard, 45 for Lawrence, 41 for Creech and Antolovsky, 33 for Knight, 31 for Lep, 27 for Fast, 26 for Torka, 25 for Murphy, 24 for Steele, 23 for Nielsen, 19 for Butler, 17 for Vokac, 12 for Davies, and 7 for Marshall. And in goal, Debut and Pinch. Pinch with the 912 save percentage in 60 games played. And for Debut in 24 games played, it has a 900. So Debut definitely pretty rough this season, unfortunately, but luckily Pinch covered for him. And team stats, we were first in the league in goals for per game with a 3.63. Goals against per game, we were first in the league with a 2.35. Power play, we were 5th in the league with a 20.9. And penalty kill, we were 12th in the league with an 82.6. All right, it's time for the year 13 playoffs. Starting out against the Minnesota Wild. They were 40, 37, and 5 on the regular season. So not the greatest record, but as we've seen in the past by a particular Seattle Kraken team, anything can happen in the playoffs, and we don't want to underestimate anybody. So here we go. Game number 1 against Minnesota will be a 2-1 Calgary victory. Shots are 45-17 in favor of Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game, McAlpine, Long, and Murphy. So first period, no scoring. Second period, you have Glockner from Murphy and Vokac, makes it 1-0. And then Antolovsky from Lawrence makes it 2-0. And then the third period, Richard Long scores for Minnesota, makes it 2-1. And that is it for game number 1. Here we go. Game number 2 will be a 4-3 Minnesota victory. Shots are 41-22 in favor of your Calgary Flames, but Minnesota gets the win. 3 stars of the game, Yefimenko, Elfring, and Sukup. First period, you have Elfring with the goal from Henderson and Glockner, but then you have Sukup from Minnesota to tie it heading into the second period, where Antolovsky scores on the power play from Elfring and Glockner. Then you have Antolovsky again from Blizzard and Nielsen to make it 3-1, but then Alfredo Flores for Minnesota makes it 3-2 heading into the third, where Arbogast scores on the power play, and then Lundqvist gets the game-winning goal to make it a 4-3 Minnesota victory and a 1-1 series tie. Here we go. Game number 3 will be a 9-5 Calgary victory. My goodness. Shots are 58-20 in favor of your Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game, Fast, Pegamagabo, and Lawrence. Fast with the 4-assist game. So first period, they start out with scoring. Rowe gets the goal, but then not long after, Pegamagabo with the goal from Fast and Lawrence makes it 1-1. Then Lawrence from Pegamagabo and Lep, Elfring from Knight and Hedqvist makes it 3-1. And then Flores on the power play and Poltov for Minnesota makes it tied at 3 heading in the second period, where Antolovsky scores from Blizzard and Torka. Then you have Glockner from Lawrence makes it 5-3. Long scores from Minnesota to make it 5-4. But then Torka from Blizzard and Fast makes it 6-4 heading in the third period, where Pegamagabo scores from Fast and Nielsen. Then Elfring from Glockner and Hedqvist, and Nielsen from Blizzard and Fast makes it 9-4, and then Walton Miles for Minnesota makes it 9-5, and that is all she wrote for game number 3. Here we go. Game number 4 will be a 4-1 Calgary victory. Shots of 38-21 in favor of Calgary. 3 stars of the game, Glockner, Lawrence, and Murphy. First period, you have Glockner from Murphy and Lawrence, making it 1-0. Then you have Lundqvist on the power play, making it 1-1. Third period, you have Hedqvist from Glockner, then Pegamagabo from Antolovsky and Lawrence, and then Elfring with his 4th of playoffs from Henderson and Glockner, making a 4-1 win. Here we go. Elimination game 5. We are on home ice. Come on, Calgary. End it right here. There you go. Torka with the goal from Blizzard and Glockner. And there's another one. Pegamagabo with his 4th of the playoffs from Elfring. Makes it 2-0. There's a goal for them. Nordstrom with the goal for Minnesota. Make it 2-1 late in the first period, and head in the second with a 1-goal lead. Come on, Calgary. Oh, there's one for Minnesota. Poltov with a goal. And oh man, Minnesota takes the lead. Bell with the goal. Come on, oh man. Lundqvist with the goal. Makes it 4-2. So we have to come back here in the third period. Come on, Calgary. Oh no. Eversole. It's not looking good in this game. Yep, that is just about it. As we lose 5-2 here in game number 5, and we are headed to game number 6. Shots of 43-34 in favor of your Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game: Long, Moorhead, and McAlpine. Come on, Calgary. Game number 6. They're on home ice this time. Hedquist with the first goal on the first shot of the game from Henderson and Elfring. We take an early 1-0 lead. There's another one. Torka unassisted. There's another one. Henderson from Torka and Murphy makes it 3-0. And all right, there's another one from Minnesota. Richard Long. So this game is far from over. We're only halfway through the first. We already have 4 goals collectively. All right, so that's it for the first period. Moving on to the second, up by 2. There's one for Minnesota. Nordstrom with the goal. Utney, what are we doing, guys? Come on. Oh no, Nordstrom again. Nordstrom's been killing us so far the past couple of games. What are you doing, Calgary? Miles, Walton Miles with the goal. It's now 5-3 heading into the third period. The shots are 48-16. Are you mad? Oh man, Arbogast. What is happening here, Calgary? 53 shots to 24, and the score is 6-3 in favor of the Minnesota Wild. 3 stars of the game: Long, Nordstrom, and Utney. And we are headed to a game 7. All right, come on, Calgary. Game 7 underway. I am a little nervous, I will admit. All right, there you go. There's another first goal of the game by Torka from Henderson and Pegamagabo, but we need to be able to shut it down here as the game progresses, because we have not been able to do that the past couple of games. There's a goal by Henderson from Elfring and Fast. Oh no, come on, Calgary, don't do this. William Bell with the goal from Minnesota. Answer back in the early in the second. Come on. Oh, Eversole. Is this where it ends? Is this where it ends? Come on, Calgary. Get one back. Get one back before the end of the second. We're going to the third, tied at 2. Yeah, all right, there it is. Henderson with the goal from Hedquist and Elfring. All right, Pegamagabo. We have the insurance marker from Lawrence and Antolovsky. Just shut it down for the rest of the period here. Come on. All right, there it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Nielsen. From Pegamagabo. Makes it 5-2. They get one from Sukup, but it is too little too late. We just barely win against the Minnesota Wild in 7, and we move on to the second round. Oh man, that was a little too close to call there. Shots of 35-23 in favor of Calgary. 3 stars of the game: Pegamagabo, Lundqvist, and Henderson. And we will be facing the 52, 26, and 4 LA Kings in the second round. Here we go. Game number 1 against LA will be a 2-1 Calgary victory. Shots are 71-17. Are you kidding? Did it go to overtime? Yeah, it went to overtime. 3 stars of the game: Cam, Coupland, and Pegamagabo. Cam with the first star of the game, understandable. Holy moly, 69 saves. That is a definite, well-deserved first star for their goaltender, even though they didn't win. Quite the performance for him. First period, no scoring. Second period, Blizzard scores from Torka and Nielsen, makes it 1-0. Then Coupland scores for LA to make it 1-1. Third period, no scoring. And then overtime, Alex Pegamagabo from Henderson and Hedquist makes it a 2-1 victory in game number 1. And game number 2 time is a 5-2 Calgary victory. Shots are 38-31 in favor of your Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game: Henderson with a 4-assist performance, Elfring and Glockner. First period, you have Meehan scoring. Coming back to bite us is our former player, Brody Meehan, who was on this team for a good amount of time. I believe he was a draft pick as well. And he gets LA on the board early, but then as Glockner soon after from Henderson and Pegamagabo. In the second period, you have Hedquist from Henderson and Elfring, making it 2-1. And then third period, Elfring from Hedquist and Henderson, Hedquist from Glockner and Henderson. And then you have Carlotti for the Kings on the power play, makes it 4-2. And then Glockner with his second goal of the game from Elfring and Antolovsky makes it a 5-2 victory. Here we go. Game number 3 against the LA Kings. We have a 6-1 Calgary victory. Shots are 43-21 in favor of your Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game: Fast, Nielsen, and Blizzard. First period, Nielsen scores from Davies and Lepp, make it 1-0. Then you have John Daly for LA, makes it 1-1 at the end of 1. And then the second period, it was all Calgary here. Henderson from Fast and Elfring. Then you have Torka from Blizzard and Nielsen, Blizzard from Torka, Fast from Pegamagabo, and then Lawrence from Glockner and Antolovsky makes it a 6-1 victory. There was no scoring in the third. So that means we are up by 3, headed into an elimination game number 4 underway. Ooh, there's a goal for them. Brad Draper scores first. Makes it 1-0 LA. And that is it for one. No scoring on our end, unfortunately. So we are going to be playing a little bit of catch up here. Going into the second period. There it is. Doug Elfring from Lawrence and Knight. Makes it 1-1. Come on, guys. There it is. Henderson from Elfring and Knight. Makes it 2-1. That's it for the second period. Heading into the third, up by 1. And that is it. Not much happened in the third period. We win by the score of 2-1. And of course, we sweep the LA Kings. Moving on to round number 3. Shots are 46-24 in favor of Calgary Flames. 3 sides of the game, Cam, Draper, and Elfring. And we'll be facing the Nashville Predators in the third round, who were 48-25-9 on the regular season. Here we go. Start of round number 3 against the Nashville Predators. Game number 1 underway. We have a 2-1 Calgary victory. Shots are 42-22 in favor of your Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game, Hedquist, Pelletier, and Cox. First period, no scoring. Second period, Lindgren for Nashville makes it 1-0. Third period, you have Hedquist from Henderson and Glockner. And then overtime, you have Nielsen from Hedquist and Henderson makes it the 2-1 victory. Here we go, game number 2. And that is a 4-1 victory in game number 2. Shots are 68-19 in favor of your Calgary Flames. And this one didn't even go to overtime. So that is 68 shots in regulation for your Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game, Torka, Nielsen, and Blizzard. First period, you have Fast from Nielsen and Torka, makes it 1-0. Second period, Glockner on the power play from Creech, who is back in the lineup now. Then you have Uno Lep from Creech and Steele, makes it 3-0. And then Torka from Blizzard makes it 4-0. Third period, you have Lisick with the only goal of the game for Nashville on the power play. That will make it a 4-1 victory for your Calgary Flames. We are up 2-0. Game number 3. There it is, the 2-1 victory. Shots are 44-27 in favor of your Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game, Pelletier, Fortier, and Lawrence. First period, Doug Elfring scores from Nielsen and Fast. Second period, no scoring. Third period, Lawrence scores from Antolovsky, makes it 2-0. And then Fortier scores to make it 2-1. But that is it. For game number 3, we're up 3-0. Elimination game number 4 in Nashville. Come on, Calgary. Let's end this here and make it back to the Stanley Cup final once again. There you go. Antolovsky from Pegamagabo makes it 1-0. We're heading to the second period, up by 1. There's another one. Pegamagabo from Lawrence and Murphy makes it 2-0. And there's another one. Hedquist from Elfring and Murphy makes it 3-0. Halfway through the second period. Third period time, up by 3. Just hold the lead, maybe get one more. There it is. Antolovsky from Torka and Pegamagabo. Everything's looking great. And we get the shutout as well. And we are headed back to the Stanley Cup final once again. Shots are 44-18 in favor of Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game, Pegamagabo, Antolovsky, and Murphy. Oh no, Torka and Vokac both going down right before the Stanley Cup final. Hopefully the other series drags on a little bit. Cut ear day today. And then Torka, eye irritation day today. All right, they should be back for the Stanley Cup Finals. I hope so anyway. Luckily, that was a short series though, so we got to hope that the series between Boston and Florida extends a little bit. So that is our second sweep in a row for these playoffs. And Boston won in, I believe that was 6, wasn't it? Yeah, Boston won in 6. So we will be facing the 42-33-7 Boston Bruins in the Stanley Cup Finals. All right, let's see. It's game day. Are these guys back? They're all, I mean, they could all play, but they won't be at their full ability. You know what? It's the Stanley Cup Finals. I'll let Coach make the decision on this one. So it looks like Torka and Vokac are going to be sitting. Creech is playing. Here we go. Game number 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals against the Boston Bruins will be a 4-1 Boston victory. Shots are 32-25 in favor of the Boston Bruins. 3 stars of the game, Vasuchin, Reynolds, and Bertie. First period, no scoring. Second period, Bullard scores for Boston to make it 1-0, and then Downey scores, make it 2-0. Elfring from Fast and Henderson makes it 2-1, but then Thomason makes it 3-1. Ahead in the third period, Bertie scores to make it a 4-1 victory for Boston. All right, game number 2. Come on, Calgary. There it is. A 5-3 victory. Shots of 49-31 in favor of Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game, Lawrence, Reynolds, and Pegamagabo. Lawrence with a 5-assist game. He got points on every goal. In first period, you have Bertie and Reynolds scoring for Boston. Second period, it's all Calgary. You have Pegamagabo from Lawrence, then Henderson from Pegamagabo and Lawrence. Pegamagabo on the power play from Lawrence and Steele. Early in the third period, you have Bertie with a goal for Boston, but then it's Murphy from Pegamagabo and Lawrence, and Glockner with the empty net goal from Lawrence. Makes it the 5-3 victory. Tremendous performance from Eric Lawrence there. All right, game number 3. We are tied at 1, and it will be a 2-1 Boston lead in the series as they win 4-3. Shots are 35-29 in favor of Boston. 3 stars of the game, Bullard, Knight, and Bertie So first period, Downey and Bullard score for Boston, make it 2-0. Second period, you have Vokac from Knight and Davies to make it 2-1. And the third period, you have Yzerman and Birdie both on the power play to make it 4-1. Hedquist from Nielsen and Antolovsky and Lepp from Knight make it interesting at 4-3, but too little too late for your Calgary Flames. Key game number 4, that will be a 5-4 Calgary victory. My goodness. This is a close series, let me tell you. Boston is certainly giving us a run for our money here. Not just in this game, but in, all the previous games as well. Even the games that we've won so far, they've been like right on our tail. Shots are 43-30 in favor of Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game, Pegamagabo, Thomason, and Murphy. First period, you have Nielsen scoring from Glockner and Pegamagabo, makes it 1-0. And then Willie Reynolds scores for Boston late in the period to get it tied heading into the second, where Braden Creech scores on the power play from Pegamagabo and Steele. Then you have Lawrence from Murphy and Antolovsky. Creech on the power play from Pegamagabo and Steele once again. And then you have John Reynolds for Boston, making it 4-2. Heading in the third period, where Elfring scores from Antolovsky and Hedquist. Yzerman and Thomason get 2 goals for Boston back-to-back, but too little too late for them this time. So we are tied in the series at 2. Come on, Calgary. Pivotal game number 5 is a 3-0 Calgary victory. Shots are 54-20 in favor of Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game, Poe, Antolovsky, and Hedquist. First period, Eric Lawrence with a goal from Henderson makes it 1-0. Second period, Elfring from Antolovsky and Hedquist makes it 2-0. Third period, Hedquist with the empty net goal from Glockner and Antolovsky makes it the 3-0 shutout victory. All right, we have 2 opportunities. Let's hope we don't need both of them, though, to get our 5th Stanley Cup in a row and 7 in 9 seasons. Come on, Calgary. You know what to do. Just get it done. Start of the simulation. There it is. Cody Glockner early from Antolovsky and Elfring. Makes it 1-0. And there's a goal before we head into the second period. 4 seconds left in the first. Vokac with the goal from Knight and Steele. Makes it 2-0 heading into the locker room. Second period underway. There's a goal for Boston. Thomason scores. Makes it 2-1. 2-2. Willie Reynolds. Come on, Calgary. Don't do this again here. Oh no, Thomason, come on, Calgary. Ugh. Maybe I just gotta stop saying come on, Calgary, because it seems like every time I say it, Boston or whoever we're facing goes ahead and scores. Justin Burston with a goal. Try to get tied here, Calgary, please. No, oh, okay, maybe I should just stop talking. And Boston, oh man, Joseph Birdie. All right, there's a goal for us. Glockner from Steele and Vokac, but that is certainly not enough, not anywhere near, as we have to head to a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals. Shots are 35-28 in favor of Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game, Vasutin, Mahone, and Murkowski. Game 7 at home. Get it done. There it is. Uno Lepp with the goal from Steele and Vokac. Makes it 1-0. All right, there's 2-0. Vokac from Nielsen and Elfring. And in the second period now, up by 2. There's another one. Henderson from Elfring and Hedquist. Makes it 3-0. There's another one. Hedquist from Pegamagabo and Antolovsky. Makes it 4-0. Don't you dare, Calgary. Don't you dare lose this kind of lead. I swear. There you go. Blizzard from Fast and Hedquist makes it 5-0 early in the third period. And we should have this. No, it's not going to happen. Birdie with the goal. Wishful thinking for the Boston Bruins, but Eric Lawrence with the goal unassisted. That is halfway through the third period as we get another one. Pegamagabo from Lepp and Lawrence. We have Braziled him so far, and there's another one. Murphy from Nielsen and Blizzard. It is now 8-1 with 5 minutes remaining in the third, and the Stanley Cup is once again with your Calgary Flames for the 5th year in a row. Wow. Shots of 37-28 in favor of Calgary Flames. 3 stars of the game, Hedquist, Vokac, and Lawrence. So even despite moving on from some of our key players in the offseason, we get it done once again. I don't even know how to explain this, to be honest. I'm starting to run out of words for this team. Because at this point, I'm not even sure if Dynasty would properly give this team justice. Is it like Super Dynasty at this point? There is Stanley Cup Championship number 8 for the Calgary Flames. The last one, of course, in 2041. Stanley Cup winning goal was scored by Maxim Vokac. All-around team effort, 23 points for Doug Elfring in 22 games played, 23 for Pegamagabo as well, 20 for Glockner, Henderson, and Lawrence, 19 for Hedquist, 18 for Antolovsky, everyone pitching in. Torrico with 12, 11 for Blizzard and Fast, 8 for Murphy and Nielsen, 7 for Steele, 6 for Vokac, Nielsen, Lepp, and Knight. Then you have Creech with only 4 and 15 for Creech, really. Davies with 2 points in 11 games played, and then everyone else with nothing. And in goal, you have Pinch with the 899 save percentage. So despite some shoddy goaltending here, we still got it done here in these playoffs. Taboo, unfortunately, did not make an appearance. Despite all of his work here in Calgary over the years, coach seemed to have trusted Pinch a little bit more than Debut this year. I'm not complaining. We still got it done. And yep, there it is. How ridiculous does that look? Man. And then, of course, 7 and 9 years. This team's just ridiculous, dude. I don't even know how to comprehend it. But, you know, it's reasons like that that I really enjoy playing GM mode, because anything can happen, you know? I mean, I'm all for realism, but just the fact that you can make a team like this and then just have it be absolutely insane. As far as the NHL goes, getting 7 Stanley Cup championships in 9 seasons is definitely unheard of, at least in this day and age. I mean, no, obviously there was Edmonton and what was it, the Islanders back in the day. But still, in the modern era, in the modern NHL era, that is completely unheard of. And I think with that, we are going to end this one off here. And the next one, we'll continue on with our dynasty here in Calgary, your super dynasty, or whatever you want to call it at this point. And we'll see how far we can take this thing.